I gotta come clean, everybody. I gotta be honest. I have to confide in all of you. It's true. I do not know every single NuGet package for .NET developers. I don't know them all. I'm so sorry. I know I've been a .NET developer for like 15, 16 years, but I don't know every single amazing NuGet package. But you all filled me in on some awesome things that I should know about, specifically MediatR. Yes, MediatR. MediatR? Because I did a video all about doing pub sub from component to component. You know, you have a publisher sending messages to basically subscribers, pub, sub, it's got it. And you were like, hey, everybody, isn't that just MediatR? Can't you just do that in MediatR? And then I was thinking to myself, well, what is MediatR? I don't know what MediatR is. So I went up and I looked, and I'm sorry, Jimmy. Look at me. I'm sorry. I didn't know about MediatR. Now, I'm not sure if it's because I'm not traditionally an ASP.NET Core developer, so I didn't know that that thing was there, or because I never really needed one in my application. So I was always doing messaging center, pub sub type of things. But MediatR is a simple MediatR implementation that supports request response. It's actually a little bit different. So I'm going to break down everything you need to know about MediatR and how you can implement it in your applications, whether it's web, desktop, mobile, or a whole lot more. So tune in. Hey everyone, I'm James and I'm back with another video, this time talking about MediatR. Yes, MediatR with a big R at the end of it. This is specifically a MediatR implementation from the one and only Jimmy Bogard. You know him from a bunch of his other libraries that are on the internet. Super good stuff. And there's over 75 million downloads. I am so sorry, Jimmy, I did not know about MediatR there. Now this is a little bit different. It's request response. So it isn't pub sub. There is a notification type of system. And at least I have it working, and I think is how it works. And Jimmy, please correct me if I'm wrong, or anyone in the comments below. It is quite a little bit different than the normal response. Because in a pub sub type of application, you have that publisher that has a message that is going to be sent to anyone subscribed. Now, MediatR is a little bit different. It says, hey, I'm a requester and I'm going to request for you to go do something, and I'm going to respect a response from a handler. And these handlers are little tiny classes that do a bunch of work. So this is really, really good for like microservice type of architecture where things are loosely coupled and you need to send things across the wire, get some work done, and get a response back. There's also a bunch of other things. There's queries, there's events, synchronous, asynchronous, and notifications. And from my understanding, notifications and the requests are pretty much this very similar. A request can take a value back or cannot take a value back, a response back, whereas a notification is always just one way, but they both have this handler type of implementation. So you can have multiple handlers coming back from this sort of request that's going in. Anyways, let's just get into some code already, okay? So I've been working on this task application, and this task application is from the .NET MAUI beginner series. I'll put a link in the show notes below, but I can do things like add tacos into here. I could add salsa, stuff I need to pick up, salsa, add that there. Now I can tap on one and I could go ahead and like delete one, or I could go back and I could tap on one here. Now, if I hit this delete button, I need to send something either out to my database to go delete it. I should have a database, or basically I need to notify page one that something has changed to go refresh its data. Now in this sample, which is like bad architecture, bad code, definitely don't do this. I literally send a message from the detail page to the main view model to go delete the item and then refresh the list. And let's actually look at that. This uses the .NET Community Toolkit. And we can see over here, we have this delete command, a relay command. It uses this weak reference messenger to send a message of delete item message. Now, delete item message looks like this. It comes from the .NET Community Toolkit, and it basically sends over a string to go do something with. Now, over in my main view model, we can see that I register for myself that I'm going to handle basically anytime and subscribe to anything that a delete item message comes in. And there's an interface here called iRecipient. And when I implement that, down here, we get a receive. So I receive a delete item message, get the message, delete it, boom, we're good to go. We can see it in action, delete, totally deletes it. Amazing. It all works brilliantly, just as we would expect. Now, let's say I tapped on one of these, but I wanted to do some work. Now, this is going to be a completely silly, contrived demo. Don't do this at home. But let's say I wanted to get the count of how many items are in this list. So let's say I wanted to go in to my page. Let's do some live coding here. I'm going to go into my detail page. Let's add a button here, and we'll say get count, and we'll say get count command. Perfect. Now in our detail view model, let's go ahead and create another relay command. It's going to source generate some code, and we'll say async task get count. There we go. And just like that, we've created our command. Everything is totally good. We have a button, and we are off to the races. Now, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to find a way to go off and create a handler that will go and query that main view model, or maybe a database, or maybe something else on the internet, and go bring stuff back. So I kind of consider it almost a little service handler in a way. So we're going to need MediatR. So we're going to go ahead and bring in MediatR. When you search for MediatR, MediatR, maybe that's what you say, MediatR, there's going to be a bunch of packages. And here, for example, is the MediatR.extensions Microsoft dependency injection. So you can use it with a bunch of different dependency injection services. Jimmy's got great documentation on the wiki on how to set that all up. We're going to use the one that comes from .NET MAUI or ASP.NET Core. So I can install this one here. So let's go ahead and do that there. This will bring in contracts and the core underlying infrastructure, and we should be good to go. There we go, finished, cool. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and set up MediatR. Now MediatR is going to be part of our services, so we can inject an iMediator into our view models to send those messages. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my builder here and say builder.services.add MediatR. There it is. Now when I did that, it added this using MediatR up top. That's pretty cool. And now I can go ahead and do a few things. I can pass in some assemblies, some types, a bunch of other stuff that I can pass in. What Jimmy has in his docs is assembly dot. Let's go ahead and add that there. And then get executing assembly. So if you had multiple assemblies, you could pass those all in, so they'd all be registered up and all those good things. And that's going to enable us to do dependency injection and a whole lot more. So that's pretty cool at the end of the day. Now, in a mobile and desktop application, should you be scanning and doing stuff? Well, Jimmy's pretty smart, so I'm assuming he's written the most performant code under the sun. So on a server, obviously it shouldn't matter, but on a client app, I don't know. It's hard to say. It probably is pretty quick though, but do some performance profiling and see what happens there. So the first thing we're going to do is going to create a request. All right, we need a request from any handler some information back. So let's go into our messages. I'm going to add a new class, and I'm just going to call this the get count mediator. Cool. Now inside here, we're going to clean some stuff up, bring in using MediatR, and inside here, we're going to create two classes. I'm going to create a public class called get count request. Okay. And another one called public class get count handler. Okay. And I'm not sure if this is like best practices for a MediatR, but I like having my request and my handler side by side, so I kind of know exactly what's going on here. So the request is going to be an iRequest, and an iRequest, that's all you need. That's the most smallest amount of work that can be done. If you don't give it a type, it's just going to return a task, and you can wait on that task, but you can come in and ask for a type of response. So I can say, hey, I want this to come in and give me an integer back. All right, that's pretty cool. Now, if I want to pass out their properties, I could say like public bool, taco stuff only, for example, and do like a get set. There we go. Now that'd be pretty good. Now we can send this message. We're going to send this request across the wire. So let's go ahead and do that first before we implement the handler. So the detail view model here, we have get count. We can say var count equals going to say await mediator dot, well, I don't have a mediator. I need to get a mediator. So let's get a mediator. If we go in, since everything's registered with our dependency injection, I can say public detail view model, pass in an I mediator. There it is, mediator. And then I'm going to come up here and say I mediator, mediator, this dot mediator equals mediator. Whew. We got our mediator. Perfect. Okay, cool. So now I can say mediator and I can say send. And I can pass in a new request, which is an object, and also give it a cancellation token. So if for some reason it's going to time out or you can only wait around so long while you're spinning stuff, you're going to want to go ahead and give it a cancellation token so your users can cancel that thing. I'm going to go ahead and give it a new get count request. There we go. Just like that. And we're totally good to go. So we can give get count request and we're off. Then what I'll do is I'll say wait shell.current display alert. I'm going to say count. Okay, just do a little pop up there. Now we got our mediator. It's getting the request. It's waiting for the handler to respond. We get our count back and boom, totally good to go. Well, let's implement this thing. So I'm going to go over to my get count handler, and you guessed it. This is going to be a I request, say it with me, handler. All right. Now inside of here, we're going to take in the request and tell it what we're going to put out for the response. So our in is going to be the get count request, and it is an integer back, which is nice. Now what's cool here is we can say implement that interface, and boom, we are good to go. Now, we need to get our main view model. You might be saying, well, James, why don't you just implement iRequestHandler on the main view model? You did that for the iRecipient. Well, friends, in my testing at least, when I was getting this set up and I recorded the video 25 times, I kept getting 0 back. And it seems to be that Mediator creates the object new every time. It doesn't request the singleton back. It's not, it's a handler. So the handler gets created automatically. So that would not be good because we'd be creating a new main view model, that handler there. So we actually don't get the singleton back. So what we need to do is we need to go in and we need to say, okay, well, this get count handler could take in a main view model. Why not? Right? We just say view model. And just like we did before, I can go and copy this in. There we go. This dot view model equals view model. Cool. I just have access to it. So now at this point, I have this handler, which has my get count request. So if I wanted to do if request dot, taco stuff only, for example, I could, go and get that Boolean. But I'm just going to say return task dot from result. And then I'm going to say view model dot items dot count. Okay. Now, if I'm totally doing this wrong and I could have put the iRequest handler on the main view model, tell me in the show notes below, because I couldn't figure it out. This is what I think you have to do. This is looking correct to me. So let me know if for some reason I totally did it wrong. And I'm so sorry if I did. I apologize to everyone on the internet and Jimmy, but I'm pretty sure that's what you need to do. So that should be all I need to do. And this actually is a nicely decoupled part of code. It's actually kind of cool that I'm not shoving this stuff into my main view model, but in theory, this should now boot up and we should have not only some breakpoints here for our get count handler, but if I go over into my detail view model, I can add some breakpoints there and we should have our mediator in place over here. That would be pretty cool. So let's go ahead and give it a look over here. And let it boot up. There we go. I'm on my wide screen. So let's go ahead and make it smaller. And I'm going to say tacos, add salsa, and cheese. There we go. I'm going to tab on one and say get count. Get my count. I'm going to go in. There we go. Now this main view model should inject our main view model automatically. So if I look here, we have our main view model here. We can see all of our items in our list. And then we have our count over here, which should be 3. If I come back, we should see our count is 3. And sure enough, just like that, count is 3. We have that mediator sitting in the middle, negotiating between our request from our detail view model and the handler that has implemented it there, which is very, very cool. There we go. We've now implemented our mediator sort of pattern, if you will, between our detail view model, that handler over there, that request and handler, pub, sub, and response over there. Now, this does sort of open up that can of worms, right? If I am wrong, let me know. But if I am right, that means that I can't just add that, implementation that I, request handler anywhere in my code, because if I do that, it's going to new up new things. That's not what I'm not going to want, right? But what I would do is have these sort of smaller decoupled chunks of code. So if we look at it, we could not only have that request, we could also still implement, if we really wanted to, that code to also delete the item. So should we use the .NET Community Toolkit? Should we use Mediator for everything? Kind of depends on your pattern, but let's go ahead and try it with the Mediator pattern as well. Now, we can use that request because we actually need to get something back. But if you don't need to get something back, you can actually just send a notification, which also simplifies things a little bit more. So let's implement that. So I'm going to go over to my delete item message, which we had earlier, but I'm going to say using Mediator now. So let's go over there. So I'm going to say using Mediator. All right. And I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm actually going to come into my get mediator count, and I'm going to go ahead and copy some code here. Boop. Cool. And I'm going to paste it down here. So instead of get count request, I'm going to say delete notification, and this is going to be an I notification. And here, instead of taco stuff, we're going to say string, and we're going to say value. There we go. So we have a delete notification. We're going to tell it what to delete. And then down over here, let's go ahead and call this the delete notification handler, just like that. And instead of being a request handler, I'm going to say I notification handler of type delete notification. Perfect. Now we're still going to pass on our main view model because we need to do that. But this I notification handler is going to be a little bit different. This time it's going to take in just that delete notification that we're going to pass it, and then I can give it a cancellation token, pass that back. It's kind of cool. Now to go ahead and delete that code, let's go into our main view model again. And let's go ahead and just grab that delete code over here. In fact, yeah, we could literally pass it this, the same exact code overall, but let's just go ahead and grab this. We're going to grab this here. We're going to just make sure it's on the main thread. And what we're going to do is we're going to say delete this, and I should be able to say view model dot delete command dot execute. There we go, just like that. And then I'm going to return task dot completed task. Now, again, is this good practice? Is this bad practice? Is this the worst practice in the entire world? Maybe. It's kind of up to you, but this is, at least showing you some of the examples that you could do in this case. Okay, cool. So this should work. I'm basically creating this delete, and you could delete this from anything. I'm deleting it from a main view model. Don't do that, but you could, which is good. What I normally do in an application, by the way, is I would delete it from the database, and then I would update a timestamp, and then I would compare that timestamp in my main view model, and that's when I would know how to go ahead and update things. But let's go ahead and send this now. So we already have our mediator. So when we hit delete, instead of going off and sending that, we can say await mediator dot, and instead of saying send, we can say publish, and there's going to be a new notification. So I'm going to say new delete notification. I'll say value equals text. There we go. And it's going to wait and come back and then go backwards. So let's go ahead and try this one more time. And now basically we're going to publish this message, and this delete over here should handle it automatically for me. So let's add some breakpoints here. Let's add a breakpoint over in our delete view model, just like that. Cool. I'm going to shrink this down. Let's do tacos again. Let's add salsa. Tap on tacos. I'm going to hit delete. Our mediator is going to publish this. It's going to go off. Here we go. We have our view model. It still has our 2 items in it. It's going to go ahead and delete it. And boom, it's deleted yet again. Easy peasy. Now, it's kind of up to you what you like. You know, I think in this case, it was a little bit easier for me. Again, if I just look at this code here, I just said I recipient, I registered it here, kind of good to go. Whereas in this case, I have these mediators and handlers and requests and handlers in between. So that's the pattern that's a little bit different. Now, I do think that mediators are great patterns, especially doing web applications. Could be a good use case for your mobile and desktop applications or microservice type of architecture there. I really need to get it into my main applications and get out of the just sample, sort of just seeing how it works. But now you at least have seen how some of the implementation will work. And now you're sort of thinking like in your mind, ooh, I did this thing in my code. Maybe I should apply this concept. Or maybe actually that pub sub works a little bit better in your case. Anyways, let me know what you think. Did I do it right? Did I do it wrong? Do I have to redo this video? I don't know. At least this handler is totally the way that you can totally do it. So it's totally valid either way. But let me know how you're using Mediator or the .NET Community Toolkit or other pub sub type of stuff. Anyways, I'll be right here on YouTube. You can hit that like button. Like, you can jam on it. There we go. It's in focus. Like. That goes into that YouTube algorithm. It helps other people find the video. Moreover, if you really like this channel, because I create videos every single week, hit that subscribe button. You get notified by ringing that notification bell right here, because I put out a new video basically almost every single week, as long as I'm in town. Anyways, I hope you liked this video. If you did, I appreciate the comments, the likes, the hearts, all the things. Anyways, I'll be back again. Let me know what type of other NuGet packages you want me to explore, because I love it, and I love exploring and finding new things that I can use in all my applications. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Till next time, have a good one.